It's been a little while since I've shared an update, so I wanted to show y'all what we've been up to the past few months on the farm and some fun projects that we've been working on.
Getting her done. Oh yes. Ooh. Just cleaning out this awful looking shed. Woo! Dude, we have filled up this whole thing right there. All that. It's from this place. And it's all over the place. Okay. This is great. So much fun. So cute.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, July 1st, 2024. Listen, it's not every day that Jana Duggar gives us a life update, and this life update only further proves to me that Bob Duggar is desperate for one of his kids to put out content to make him look and the family look wholesome still. It would appear that Bob, who is too afraid to speak for himself, is going to use Jana Duggar to prove that the Duggar family farm business, apparently, that they're in, is what the family is up to these days. It also would appear that this update that was posted by Jana kind of further proves that Jana is still very much raising her siblings, very much managing the household of this house, of the Duggar family, very much still a stay-at-home daughter. And I don't know, I know I should be happy for her because she's apparently raising sheep and she's got a garden and they put up a fence, but I just kept thinking, like, this isn't your fence, this isn't your sheep, this is nothing. Like, all of this belongs to your dad. The update was posted on her YouTube channel, and as Bob loses more control of his daughters that are married, he's doubling down with his unmarried oldest daughter to put out content like this. Check it out.
Joe and I were talking about getting sheep and goats, and so we went to the auction and bought a whole truckload of them. We had originally put in a fence basic kind of system. It was an electric fence, but somehow there were a few of them that would continue to get out. So with spring coming and being time to put the plants in the garden and everything, we didn't want the goats and the sheep eating all of our garden plants. So we decided to put in a nicer fence that would hopefully keep them out of that area. The girls and I kind of drew up a plan and an idea of what we wanted for the fence, and then we headed to the store to buy all the materials.
So here's the thing. She says she and Joe Duggar, who lives on the property too, wanted to buy sheep, right? And in order to buy sheep, they wanted to raise them. And so I kept thinking, okay, if this is Joe, if these are your sheep with Joe, where is Joe helping you with the fence? Where is he? Because this video, he's completely MIA. Like, I don't know if he helped or not, and he was off camera, but she says they go to the auction and they buy a bunch of sheep. And they didn't have the right fencing to keep the sheep out of their garden. I don't know what kind of fencing they're using in this property. This property is right by a landfill. They don't have a ton of it. It's like 20 acres on one side, and then they have, I don't know, 25 acres on another side. They've subdivided some of it. Josiah's bought in part of it. They don't have as much farmland, quote unquote, as you would think of. And it's not a traditional farm. I think this is their idea of farming. But regardless, they get a bunch of sheep. And I just kept thinking, okay, first of all, you're raising sheep for your dad because this is your dad's house. This is your dad's property. This is your dad's shed. This is your dad's sheep. I mean, where is she getting her money? She has no job. She never uploads on her Instagram or her YouTube. She's basically running her parents' house, and she's a stay-at-home daughter, and she doesn't have her own, employment because they are not allowed to have employment outside of self-employment because of their weird Bill Gothard rules about how you can't work with people that are outside of your yoke, and you're not supposed to have bosses that you're not equally yoked with. And I don't know, there's all these weird satanic rules about not working for other people. It's all about Satan and the umbrella of protection. And so she's talking about all these sheep, and I kept thinking, okay, this is really sweet that you have sheep, but again, you're like 34 years old and you're living at your parents' house. You're building something that's going to benefit your parents. And then she's utilizing her sisters to help her build this. None of the boys are up here on camera. Some of the girls aren't even wearing shoes while they're building this fence. And the garden that she has is, again, benefiting her parents. So I kept thinking, like, this video is basically for Jim Bob to show what his kids are doing at their house. Like, oh, look at us. We're so wholesome. We have sheep now. If they're going to raise sheep and care for them the way that they care for children, I'm concerned for the sheep.
This is how it's done these days. I'm retiring now. Y'all got it. So as we started on the project, we kind of got started later in the day, but we wanted to finish it, so that meant working late at night, and yes, it was dark, so we were able to find some lights, pull those out, and just get the project done. I feel like as we did that, that's really where the memories are made, is in those late nights. You're all kind of just having a good time. Yes, you're tired, but you look back on it and the project is finished and you're completely done with it.
She sounds so much like Michelle, and it's like she's talking about her children having a good time, making memories, building this fence. I don't know if any of you have actually ever built a fence or had someone come in to build a fence, but the way that they're building this fence is definitely not a way that I would trust a fence to be built. The Duggars are not known to do things the most right way. They just sort of throw things together. They put it all together and hope it sticks, kind of thing. And there's some issues with that, because if this fence is supposed to keep out the livestock, the fence doesn't actually look that sturdy. But that's neither here nor there. Again, I was like, okay, first of all, they're in the middle of the night. Where are their shoes? Why don't they have someone helping them? Where are all of their brothers other than Jackson? I mean, they have brothers that literally work in construction that could have done this for them. Jason Duggar could have done this for them. James Duggar could have helped them with this. Any one of the brothers that works in construction, Josiah, Joe, could have done this for them. And it would have been done, at least, I don't know, not as haphazardly as it was with the girls. And I'm all about woman power, but again, I can't get over the fact that this video is uploaded. Jana is very much acting like the mother of the kids, which we all know that she basically raised them. And I thought, really the last video that we've seen of the Duggars that made waves was Ginger on a podcast, right? She was interviewed by Matt and Abby, and she talked about the relationships that are damaged in her family, the fact that the family is very much still stuck in a cult, that the people that are in the cult haven't really been able to get out of the cult, that it's a very closed system, that she's had to lose a lot of her family in order to put her book out, to speak out. And Jeremy decided not to fight them about payment of the show because she didn't want to lose relationships with her siblings. She didn't want to lose the community and her family. She didn't want to be completely shunned. You know, she spoke about the strange rules in their house about Cabbage Patch Kids and music and, you know, all the stuff that goes along with the IBLP, right? And the challenges of like the patriarchal structure with the father and the family, you know, and she barely talked about her dad. She mentioned that she speaks to her siblings via like a group text and talks to her mom every once in a while. But it was very clear that it was very estranged, and that anyone that wants to speak about the cult, in order to speak about the cult, they get kicked out of the family. And then you have all this propaganda that always comes out anytime one of the kids speaks. So Jana started posting not long after Joy started talking about her own deconstruction and how she had been moved by Ginger's book, and that really rocked her world, and it helped her sort of sort through some of her own teachings growing up and why she didn't agree with certain things that she had been taught as a child, and it helped her understand the concepts from a biblical perspective versus the teachings that she grew up under. And she also discussed Jill's book being a catalyst to helping her as well. And then Jana posts her comeback to Instagram, right? And her comeback is posting videos of her gardening and doing all these fun things. And then this video comes out and she says, with spring just getting started, which it's July 1st when she's posting this, or June 30th. So we're not in spring anymore. It's now summer. So this is an older video now being posted by Jim Bob within a week or two of Ginger's podcast interview on Matt and Abby, which has gone viral at this point and has over 1 million views. So you're just like, you realize how strategic he is. Like, as soon as one child gets the bearings to actually speak on the cult and the damage the cult is doing, his response is to weaponize his kids against that child by posting content to make the family appear wholesome and stable and normal, right? There's nothing normal about the situation that you see in this video with Jana. I understand that there's a lot of women out there that live at home with their families, but they're not all in a cult. And when I'm speaking to Jana's specific life, I'm speaking to her reality in the Institute and Basic Life Principles, her reality under the teachings of Bill Gothard, her reality in the cult of her family. And her reality is one where she can't leave because her dad views her as property. She cannot leave unless she gets married. She lives in a small trailer on the side of her parents' house because she can't live inside because Jana Duggar lives inside with the family and with her kids, and she can't go inside with the kids because she has a child endangerment case with Mariella from a couple years ago. So I feel for Jana because I feel like Jana's probably making do and making the best of her life. But Jana doesn't realize that this video is just a propaganda tool for her father to make it appear like everything happening in the Duggar family is normal. And this video is also dropped a couple days after Josh Duggar's appeal is denied by the Supreme Court. So we find out last week that the Supreme Court doesn't want to review Josh's case. It's denied. He's going to stay in prison. And so now suddenly we have a video from Jana of, this is what my life update is. So let's deflect from what's happening with Josh. Let's put in the press that Jana is back into the mix and look at what she's doing. She's got the kids building a fence and we're having Johanna farm with the tractor and we've got sheep now, right? It's just, it reminds me of when Josh Duggar's the accusations came out about the 2006 police investigation into what Josh had done to his sisters. And Chad Gallagher had created an entire PR campaign of how they were going to post stuff so that they could distract from what was happening. So we're going to post an update about Jessa and Ben, and then we're going to follow up with a sweet update from Anna. Then we're going to post this. And it was just very like, let's overwhelm them with stories about the family so that you don't pay attention to what's going on in the news about Josh or whatever, you know? It's always the same. So if Jill speaks out, if Joy speaks out, if Ginger speaks out, expect videos from Jana. If something happens in criminal cases, expect a video from one of the kids. It's funny though that like the boys that used to be doing all of this for him are like, they're not being used the same way as Jana is. And I think it's because of the Jim Bob understanding his brand and that it's mostly women that watch the show and that they're mostly drawn to the daughters, not the sons. So it's like, he won't let the daughters move out until they're married. Jana can't leave, apparently, because she's raising the kids. He didn't protect his daughters from Josh. He's still paid for Josh's defense. He likely still believes and tells everyone that Josh is not guilty. And I just want to end this video with this because someone sent me a screenshot of a comment that was left on a Daily Mail article about Josh. And I can't tell you the authenticity of if this is true or not, but I wouldn't doubt it. So a comment was left on Daily Mail and it says, according to people I know who know his wife, she's told the kids that Josh is planted in jail to lead prisoners to God and minister to all the sinners in there. His kids have no idea he is one of the worst of the worst. It works because Anna's dad has done prison ministry for a long time, so the kids are familiar with the idea and believe that he's living there to make a bigger impact. It's wild. Think of the lies that they have to tell this family and the kids to keep everyone in line, to keep them from asking questions, to keep them from actually realizing the magnitude of what's happening and the severity of what Josh has done and the severity of the cult that they live in. If that's true and they believe that Josh has been planted to save God and that's what they're telling their kids, that's horrible. But I have a suspicion that the kids already know that Josh is bad, and that's why Josh and Anna didn't allow them to get interviewed by CPS during the criminal investigation. But I have no doubt that Anna will spin a lot of tales to explain to the kids where their dad is, because if it's not a Biden conspiracy that the government is putting him in prison, now it's God put him there because he's like the Apostle Paul. They love to compare anyone that's been persecuted and imprisoned to Paul, and he's there to convert people for Jesus, which is sick. All right, so Jim Bob's propaganda machine continues. Again, no shade to Jana. She is a victim in Jim Bob's games, and no shade to the kids that are still under Jim Bob's control. I just hope at some point all of them can wake up and realize that they don't have to be weaponized like this, that there's a life on the other side, there's freedom with constructive and critical thinking, and that asking questions is their first step to freedom. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click on the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.